Hello, everyone. I've actually did 3 days full of Animorphs. Yes, the books. I actually listened to one guy called Poparena. Definitely check him out if you want to see all of or hear all of the Animorph books run down just for you. Just for you. But anyways, I'm going to do like a little bit of a series, actually just do some light highlights of what I've heard and what actually makes sense, and also just some speculations and stuff that I'm like, you guys did bad or you guys did good. But anyways, today we're going to talk about the yeerks. That's right. We're going to talk about these bad guys, the yeerks. So for those who are new to Animorphs and never heard of it, the yeerks are basically the bad guy aliens of the series. The yeerks are, I would just say the yeerks are their own thing. Yeah, they're just their own thing. They're not even body snatchers. Well, they are body snatchers, but they're not in the way how the previous 2007 remake of that was. No, so what happens with yeerks is that they crawl into your brain, then they melt. They melt on your brain and then start taking control of you. The cool, interesting part, just like the symbiote from Marvel, they actually do take your characteristics and it imprints on them as well, giving them their own identity, even though they kind of copycatted it from you. So, with all that said, the yeerks are at first these bad guys, the ones that want to take over the world. They want to take over everyone. And after they take over the world, well, that's all they wanted. It was just world domination where they can actually live and do whatever they want. Yeah, it's not like what happened in the Treehouse of Horror of The Simpsons where Kang and Kodos became presidents. And then after that, they're like, we're building a big laser and this laser is going to hit a planet that we don't like. It's like, yeah, they had a step two. They had a step two in their plan. All it is just maybe colonization by force. Not even trying to live side by side. Is just by force. I guess that's it. That was their game plan. Not sure. And I guess they would have fought anyone else too. Yeah, would have fought the Analytes and everything. I don't know. I guess they maybe were getting ready for, just in case it's like they took over Earth. Now they're going to go to another planet as well. I don't know. I can't really tell. All I can tell you is this, is that the yeerks at first were like bad guys. But then all of a sudden, there was like a few books that actually revealed that there's some difference between yeerks. That yeerks are technically like us. They have emotions. Even though they're blind and deaf, they have emotions. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember one book where it proves, but Cassie is technically the person who actually knows everything. I think, was it number 6? I think it was number 6. Yeah, so number 6, Jake became a controller. Now, yeah, this is where I first actually start to say, okay, this is where they kind of went kind of bad with this. So Jake becomes a controller, but he only becomes a controller to the part of where it's like they starved out the yeerk. And they find out that after 3 days, the yeerk is dead and out of his brain. Instead of actually giving us experience of how it feels to be a controller, that's what you call it when you actually have a yeerk in your brain, a controller. Instead of actually going in depth of how does it feel, which they did a little bit, but Poparena thinks they could have done more, which I agree. I agree after listening what he said, because they could have done more. They could have actually elaborated on it. And, well, they could have actually have made a Chronicles about it, too. Crazy enough, I agree with him on the Chronicles part. But I'll explain that later. So anyways, yeah, we have Jake as a controller. Then after that, we found a few other. We got at least 3 examples where it's like, yeah. Well, I think maybe number 8 was one of them. I'm not sure. I think it was number 8. But anyways, the first one was the bad guy, the yeerk, who's a bad guy in quotations. Visor 3, who is the bad head honcho. Yeah, he's like one of the bad head honchos. He had 3 head honchos in all that are very, very bad. So Visor 3, damn. Well, anyways, Visor 3 actually screwed over this guy, and he wants to get back at him. So he decided to say, do whatever you want, Axe. I don't like this guy. He's a jerk. So yeah, that's one. Number 2 is his own twin brother. That's right. Visor 3 actually had Visor 3. He had his own twin brother, and his twin brother was treated like crap from the get-go. It's kind of like if you were born first, you get to have everything. If you're born second, screw you. You're the runt of the litter. You're a black sheep. Get the freak out of here. So he was treated like crap. So this guy actually decides, because, well, Visor 3 decides to treat him like crap. He doesn't really get to go into the pools and actually revive himself. No, he has to actually depend on himself, which is why he decided to lure unsuspecting controllers into his house. Sadly, instead of doing the cool thing, which is wait them out 3 days and then allow that yeerk to die, and then after that yeerk dies, he could grind up the yeerk, which that's what he does anyways, and then, yeah, there you go. He's revived. But of course, I kind of see why he can't do that. But of course, if he could have found a way to do that, take the yeerk out and leave the human, all he had to do, because, yeah, this guy's rich. Yeah, he actually is side by side with his host body. Yeah, they join forces. So with all the money he has, he could just give the human hush money and say, shh, what happened to you for the past days, these weeks, these months, it never happened. Here's $25,000. Here's $100,000. Shh. There's the door. That's all he has to do. But instead, no, he kills the human and kills the yeerk at the same time. Kind of sad. And of course, we have Cassie's 2 things. One, which I don't remember the book. But anyways, yeah, we have this one where she was actually a runaway with another girl. And this girl actually was a controller. So in this book, Cassie actually killed her brother, who was a Hork-Bajir, which is Hork-Bajir is actually an alien species. So it was a controller. And he was actually nothing but a rent-a-cop. That's all he was. He was just there for security. He wasn't there for murder or anything at all. And, well, Cassie took him down, but she allowed her, I don't even know she even allowed her wolf side to take over. She just killed him. Yeah, she just killed the host body and killed the yeerk as well. So the yeerk, who is in the girl, actually decides to go for revenge. So she actually found her after she got hurt. Yeah. After she got missing, she basically, yeah, so, oh boy, man. It was just a crazy tale that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah, and I was like, oh, you're going to kill her. Oh, frick. And then all of a sudden, Cassie showed compassion, and that actually changed yeerk's mind. And instead of actually going for Visor 3, she decides to actually choose to be in the side of good, like many others. Yeah, and the fact that during these books, there's actually a yeerk movement who actually wants to not actually take over Earth, but actually maybe live side by side with the humans. So we got that, and oh yeah, Cassie actually got controlled by her once. So I forgot what happened to her. Oh yeah, I think she got captured. Yeah, she actually got captured and then whatever. And then we got the illness. The sickness. Sorry, it was the sickness. This is where Cassie actually turned into a yeerk. And we actually got the mindset of what is a yeerk like, which is crazy. Oh yeah, I remember what book that came from. A book that came from with the girl, it was the one where Cassie turns into a butterfly. That's all I can tell you. And don't go down below and just say, oh, that's da da da. I mean, come on. It's been a few days since I actually watched those books. That was a lot of cramming I did. So, with all that right there, we get to learn that yeerks, instead of being evil bad guys, evil creeps that deserve to get killed, instead, yeerks turns out to actually be their own personality. That they're actually, there's no all evil. There's some good and there are some bad ones, which is crazy, which is very crazy. So, of course, for those who didn't read the last book, sorry about this, but yeah, this is one thing that happened in the last book. Jake actually killed 47,000 of them. I think it was 47,000 of them. So he killed so many of them, and he doesn't even remember what they learned. Or, yeah, what they learned from this whole entire experience. But of course, well, Jake was distraught during this. So you can kind of give it a benefit of the doubt. The fact of he actually got super tortured from this. And because of that, he decided to say, well, this is war. Frick the innocent. And he killed all of them. Sent them all into space. Oh, yeah. And now here's the part where it's like, oh, okay, here is the big finger. Here's where you're like, you should have done that. You should have got better. So, first things first is about the freaking yeerk pool. The yeerk pool has been breached a couple of times. And it took them a long time to actually decide to put up some new ideas. Like, for instance, you can't enter the yeerk pool, which they made like some machinery. You can't enter a yeerk pool unless you have a yeerk in your brain. If you don't have a yeerk in your brain, chances are either A, you're going to get zapped, or B, it's going to sound the alarm, and it's like, oh, freak, Analyte bandits. Analyte bandits are going down there. This is lockdown. Yeah, you got that going on. At least the good news is in 27. I remember this was 27 where they turned into bats. They actually have some robo spears who actually can shoot. So that's good. But the sad part is that a rock can take it out. Not only that, but Poparena made sure you know that when it comes to their bug fighter, I think that's what it's called, a freaking, what is it, a bulldozer or a forklift? Either way, one of those was able to just freaking tap it and it exploded, which is like, okay, it should actually cause like it to tip over or something. Or maybe if you put it on massive overdrive where it's like, so at least the good news is that it just goes straight and continue going. They're chasing after the forklift trying to stop it, but then it collides with one of those unfinished buildings and which that makes perfect sense. Now here's the crazy part is that if they actually, I think it was the Chinese government, if they actually did take an ambassador, doesn't that mean that they should have a big major yeerk pool? Meaning that technically there should be a massive outbreak in China? But of course, if there was a massive outbreak in China, that means that they have to actually do something about that yeerk pool, along with the yeerk pool that is in apparently California. That's where they actually are. So you would figure they were like, oh, frick. But of course, hey, this is fourth wall here. Fourth wall breaking in, and this is why. Fourth wall reason. Because if they make another yeerk pool, then they have to write in the fact of, oh, frick, how do they get over there? Even though that would be fun as hell because the freaking book that they have to go over there will have a panda. One of them get to morph into a freaking damn panda. And that would have been an awesome book to have, wouldn't it? I wonder who gets to be the panda. Oh, man. If it's Poparena betting, chances are I bet it would be Cassie. And he's going to be like, oh, God. She gets Australia and she gets to go to China, too. Which I think that's unfair. Yeah, you shouldn't allow that. That's not cool. I think one thing that would have been cool was maybe if they allowed the David series, which that's what happened. That's when we find out all about this stuff is what's in the David trilogy. Then I agree. The fact that the David trilogy should actually have been expanded more, and if they expanded it even more, then maybe even one book, and the one with the panda actually gets David to morph into the panda. That would be kind of cool, you know? So he goes to China. There's a lot more crap that happens in China. And then eventually, that's when David just breaks loose and say, oh, this, everyone. You guys don't treat me like good at all. You guys treat me nothing but the red shirt in Star Trek. And look at that. I bet K.A. Applegate is giving you a thumbs up on that reference, isn't she? So I'm going to end it just with the fact of when it comes to the continuity of the smarts, the intelligence of the yeerks, including the fact of they're able to go to person to get information, right? So that, I don't even remember which book it was, but I think it was an Axe book, maybe. But either way, the freaking book where they actually were like, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? And they don't even get a person who actually knows technology. Or heck, they don't go into Visor 3's mind and be like, oh, it's a toilet. Yeah, that's kind of like a big dumb thing that shows that the yeerks, even though they're pretty smart, are pretty dumb too. Which, yeah, I get it. There were just 3 decades when it comes to the technology. But they always should have smarts. They should always have smarts too. And that's the messed up thing, is putting their smarts in question. Their smarts is good, but they seem truly too slow. And it's not because they're dumb. It's because of the freaking Ghost Riders. Now, if they if they kept a ledger or something, so everyone who written a book, it's like, all right, this will happen in the book. Here's what involvement or growth that each character did. This is what I included in there. Now you have like some beams and stuff to actually make sure that Animorphs can't go in it anymore. That's when it's, well, they do some of that, but it's kind of like, well, they should also just make them smarter, you know? They're an alien race. How in the world? Yeah, so that's how it is. I'm done with this. But still, it was a good ride. And to actually truly get the full ride of it instead of what I did was just cut corners and stuff, I have to admit, it was a very fun ride. Very, very fun. So stay tuned for another video that's going to talk about Animorphs. Next one is going to talk about David and also what they could have done to make it that David is an unsung hero.